We're going to go live now to Ottawa, where federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is speaking to reporters. Let's listen in.
Carbon tax, voted against him doubling housing costs and driving 2 million people to the food bank, voted against the crime and chaos he has caused. All the PMO staffers called you in the media and said there would be heads rolling, that they would fire ministers. They called the Globe and Mail and said incompetent and discredited Chrystia Freeland would lose her job to Mark Carney, or at least to someone who knew how to work a calculator. And then that there would be other changes. Maybe even the Prime Minister would step aside to make way and to try and bury the disastrous NDP Liberal record and put a fresh coat of paint on the broken down Liberal car. Well, what did we learn at this expensive Liberal retreat in Halifax? We learned that nothing will change. That Chrystia Freeland, who's been Canada's worst ever finance minister, helping to double our national debt and drive inflation to its worst in 4 decades, will stay in her job. Sean Fraser, who destroyed what was the best immigration system in the world, will stay in his job. The crazy carbon tax minister, Stéphane Guilbeault, who wants to ban trucks, roads, and plastic straws while Liberals legalize crack and heroin, he's going to keep his job as well. The disastrous justice minister, who's helped give Canada a 50% increase in violent crime and a 120% increase in gun crime, he will keep his job. But most important of all, Justin Trudeau, the man who is not worth the cost, announced that he will keep his job. Canadians cannot afford another painful, costly, chaotic, and corrupt year of Justin Trudeau. He will not quit. He must be fired. His ego, arrogance, and incompetence will always have him putting himself ahead of Canadians. He would rather Justin Trudeau would rather force an entire generation to go without homes, 2 million people to go to food banks, 25% of kids to go to school hungry. That he would rather that continue to be the case than to give up power. He will not quit. He must be fired. And the person to do it is Jagmeet Singh. Singh sold out workers to sign on to this costly coalition. He has voted to hike the carbon tax to 61 cents a litre, for policies to double housing costs, and to tax food. Now, why did he do it? He told us that if he became part of the government, he'd bring down food prices. That was one of his promises. Did he succeed? Well, you don't actually have to ask me if he succeeded. Ask him. This is what he said about food prices last week. When you go into the grocery store and you're buying your groceries, you're spending more than ever before, and you're leaving with less than ever before. Again, that is after 2 years of Jagmeet Singh joining the Liberal government. So what's clear is that Singh did not join to bring down grocery prices or housing costs, both of which have skyrocketed since he joined this coalition. He joined to keep Trudeau in power so that he could get his pension. Jagmeet Singh is trying to delay the election until after February of next year so that he can qualify for a $2.2 million taxpayer-funded pension. That's why Canadians are calling him Sell Out Singh. My message to Sell Out Singh is this: put the people ahead of your pension. Break the costly coalition with Trudeau to trigger a carbon tax election where Canadians can choose between the costly coalition of the NDP Liberals that tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing cost, and unleash crime and chaos in your community, or common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime to bring it home for our country. We'll bring home lower prices by getting rid of the carbon tax, which will not only lower the cost for farmers and truckers to bring us food, or for Canadians to heat their homes or gas their cars, but will unleash $25 billion more of GDP every single year, according to Finance Department publications from this Liberal government. We'll enact a bring it home tax cut to make our taxes simpler, lower, and fairer. The goal is to bring home more powerful paychecks and production to this country. We'll get rid of the government gatekeepers to allow us to produce our clean Canadian natural gas, our vital minerals, our oil, our forestry products, and to bring home production to this country. We'll get rid of the gatekeepers by allowing our brilliant immigrants to take a Blue Seal exam and get working in their professions so we have more doctors and nurses. We will get rid of the government gatekeepers to build the homes. We will require local municipalities speed up permits, free up land, and cut development taxes as a condition of getting federal funds to build 15% more homes per year. We'll sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build, 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 build. We'll cut taxes on home building. We'll back the trades because we need the boots and not suits in order to build those homes. We will build those homes in safe neighborhoods with jail and not bail for repeat violent offenders, with treatment, not decriminalized and subsidized hard drugs, and by securing our borders to keep criminals, terrorists, drugs, and guns out while we bring and at the same time, we will ensure that our stolen cars do not leave our ports as they do right now. We will get that money by canceling the ridiculous gun grab and respecting the rights of our law-abiding, licensed, trained, and tested hunters and sport shooters. We will also secure our borders to make sure that never again do accused ISIS terrorists get into our country and become citizens of Canada, even after the existence of a video apparently showing that same terrorist mutilating a human body on a crucifix during the ISIS war of over a decade ago. These are the kinds of disastrous mistakes, radical approaches of the Liberal government that must end so that we can replace their costly incompetence with our common sense. And the result will be a country where hard work again earns a powerful paycheck and pension that buys affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods under a proud Canadian flag in the country we know and love, Canada. Let's bring it home.
Binding arbitration to resolve the rail strikes, and would you use such orders to resolve strikes in key sectors?
Well, I wouldn't have had to do that in this case. The reason that we have these strikes is because of inflation. We had last year the largest number of days lost to strike since 1986. What did we have in 1986? Inflation. Inflation leads to strikes because workers and unions have to fight to get back what they lost in purchasing power. Well, how did the inflation happen? The government doubled the debt. Justin Trudeau printed $700 billion of cash. He increased the money supply by 40%, while the real economy grew by 4%. When you add money 10 times faster than you add the stuff that money buys, then you get inflation. And that screws over workers because they live off wages. If you're a billionaire, like the people Trudeau vacations with, then you don't have to worry about inflation because your assets are inflation-proof or even inflation-positive. You get richer. It's a transfer of wealth from the have-nots to the have-yachts. And you know what? It's ironic. It's all done with Jagmeet Singh's support. He can huff and puff all he wants, but he supported the inflationary policies that destroyed the wages of working-class people and he supports what Justin Trudeau did on the rail strike. Do you know how we know? Do you know how we know that? Do you know how we know that? No. Do you know how we know that Jagmeet supports it? Because he's still in a coalition with them. And if Jagmeet didn't support it, he would respond to my letter this afternoon and say he's pulling out of the costly coalition and he's going to vote to bring down Trudeau and cause a carbon tax election. And that's what I'm calling for him to do today. Jagmeet Singh, stop selling out the workers. Stop being sellout Singh. Put the people ahead of your pension. Vote for a carbon tax election now.
We've been listening to federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre speaking to reporters, essentially calling on NDP leader Jagmeet Singh to walk away from the supply and confidence deal with the Liberals and force a fall election.